Okay, today we are changing the rear brake rotor on a C7 Corvette Stingray. This is not a Z51, this is not a Grand Sport, this is not a Z06. This is just a base model Corvette. First thing we're going to do is we're going to break the lugs free. So once we have the lugs free, we're going to jack up the car. You do need jacking pucks for this, and you need to position the jacking puck under the car where the little cutout is for the jacking puck if you don't have the removable pucks. I personally am going to get the permanent jacking pucks and install them on my car. So once we have the car up in the air, we need to remove the lugs the rest of the way. So I have both sides of the car jacked up, and I have a jack stand positioned in the center of the car. As you watch this video, you'll see that the jack in the video on the right side of the car slowly loses its lift and starts lowering. So anytime you're working on a car, you should always have a jack stand under the car to keep the car off of you when it falls off the jacks, or have it sitting on jack stands and remove the jacks completely. Always think safety first. When the car falls on you, you by yourself are not going to be able to lift a Corvette off of your chest. So with the wheel off, we can now see our calipers, and I moved the camera, and I apologize that it's so dark. I was hoping it would be able to pick it up, but there's two 15mm bolts that hold your caliper on, and you just need to remove those two 15mm bolts, and the caliper will slide right off of your brake rotor. So the brake rotor's off. I have a towel on the floor so my brake rotor can just land right on the towel. So now we have one Torx screw which holds our caliper in alignment between the 5 lugs. And we just take this one Torx screw out, and then we just pull on our rotor, and the rotor will come off the brake shoes. So there you go. There's what your park and brake looks like. And now we take our new brake rotor. We want to line up the 6th hole with where our Torx bolt came out of, and we're going to install our Torx bolt now. These are centric rotors that I put on all 4 corners. You can watch my other videos to see how to do the front. But these are black rotors, and the vents on the edges are also black. My car has a little shake, and I'm pretty sure it is because of one of my Michelins is bad. So I will take it back to Discount Tire and have them road force balance it again. And if it's out of spec, I'll go ahead and get that tire replaced. Typically when I replace my tires though, I replace all 4 rotors. We're lucky, if you're watching this, you're very lucky if you have a C7 Stingray, because you can get rotors for all 4 corners under $200. And the rotors are just as good as the GM rotors. They might even be better. $200, who can complain? Because it's going to cost you probably $400 if you're buying them from GM or Advanced Auto or one of the other auto parts stores. So anyway, we've put those 15mm bolts back into the back of the caliper. I'm not using a torque wrench on this. I didn't even bother to look up what the torque specs were. I know on the front the torque specs were like 160 foot-pounds on those big ass bolts up front, but these 15mm are probably 60 to 70 foot-pounds, so I can easily do that with my 1/2-inch snap-on drive ratchet. I know there wasn't a lot of force needed to remove those 15mm bolts, so as long as I get them on there tight, it'll be just fine. So I'm wiping off my rotor a little bit, just getting it clean. Since I have the wheel off, it's easier to clean the whole rotor. And now let's put our wheel and tire back on, and we're just going to lift it up and put it on the lugs and put it into place. Now there's actually a service bulletin put out by GM that tells you the proper way to install a GM wheel, and it's typically with a 5 lug. You just want to do in a star pattern every other lug until you get them snug, and then tighten down the lugs with a wrench. Then when you lower the wheel down on the ground, then you want to go ahead and torque these lugs in a star pattern. Also, these tires that I'm running are the Michelin AS3 Plus. The bonus to these is that I can at least rotate them from side to side. I can't go front to rear, but I can go side to side. So if I do have an issue with one of my tires, and I'm pretty sure that this tire that I just put on the right rear, I just took it off the left rear, and I could feel the vibration in my butt while I'm going down the road. I know it's not the transmission. I've already had that checked, and I've had the fluid changed out in my transmission, and my transmission works pretty good. So I'm pretty sure that I have a tire that once it's road force balanced, it'll show that there's a problem with the tire. Usually I get a vibration in my butt at about 63 miles an hour. So I'm going around the wheel right now in my star pattern, and I'm tightening down all my lugs. So now with my car back on the ground, I've got my torque wrench out and hooked up to my lugs. You can hear it clicking. GM's setting for our Corvette C7 is 100 foot-pounds. I typically don't give that out, but since it's the same from 2014 to 2018, I don't see where it will hurt. So once you get your brakes on and get everything torqued down, it's a good idea to take your car out for a test ride and make sure everything's alright. Hope this helped you out. It's an easy install. Good luck.